Once again, we're here with the Mueller men, a group of great guys that willingly give up their normal lives and time with their families to change other people's lives. This is the 6th year this group of guys have come together to change the world. And in a few minutes, we'll tell you just how much they've changed it so far. And as always, you're invited to hop in and travel with me. I'm Bob Phillips, and this is Mueller's Helping Hand, a special edition of Texas Country Reporter. Hey friends, do you know of a worthy nonprofit organization in Texas that could use a life-changing donation? It all started in the spring when, once again, we helped spread the word that Mueller would give a brand new metal building to a Texas nonprofit. After careful consideration, 3 finalists rose to the top.
We get handfuls and handfuls of applications. We got right at 200 this year. It's the hardest decision in the world because you read and there's some desperate needs out there.
In Granbury, Ruth's Place Clinic serves low-income and uninsured patients for all of Hood County. They've crammed 2 exam rooms, a waiting room, office space, storage, and a dental clinic into a 2-bedroom model home. More doctors are standing by to help, but there is nowhere to put them. Refuge Services in Lubbock runs more than 150 equine therapy sessions every week. They help clients, often children, overcome physical disabilities, mental illness, and behavioral problems. With only 1 meeting room and 1 covered riding area, they can't keep up with growing demand for their services. And in the central Texas city of Early, Aldersgate Enrichment Center provides jobs, housing, and self-confidence to those with intellectual disabilities. With more space, Aldersgate could take on bigger contracts and ultimately help more people support themselves. Three great and deserving organizations, 3 chances for the Mueller men to change the world again. But only one can be awarded that new building. We'll find out which one it is when we come back from Mueller's Helping Hand, a special edition of TCR. Scores of entries, 3 great finalists. And now it comes down to 1. You know, there are lots of factors that go into selecting a Helping Hand winner every year, but one of the most important is this: how many lives will be changed? And when they asked that all-important question, our Helping Hand judges said the decision was clear.
Selena, you want to come on back again?
If it's not a sick person, if it's not a health issue, then really in the big scheme of things, it's just not a big deal. So we do deal with big deals every day here.
We see lots of desperate people, so desperate parents that are trying to take care of their children, making sacrifices in food, sacrifices for other family members to be able to afford the medical care for their child. We're fortunate enough at Ruth's Place now to be able to take care of the whole family. We can see the parents and the child, anyone of any age with most any problem.
Ask anyone at the nonprofit Ruth's Place, from Dr. Rick Bonnell to Director Becky Malden, and they'll all say the same thing. A health issue is a life issue. It affects everything from your mood to your wallet to your relationships. Ruth's Place provides primary care to the uninsured in Hood County, and now they're getting a helping hand to build upon years of success.
About $1 million a year In-kind services and medical supply services is offered and granted to these patients of Ruth's Place. Last year, we had just over 1,800 office visits come through this small facility.
Ruth's Place has made life better for thousands of people. The clinic began inside a single-wide trailer, which now serves as their food pantry and community center. Then they moved into a model home where every square inch of living space has become medical space.
We'll frequently have 20 to 30 people between staff and patients crammed in here at one time.
The garage is a dental clinic. Where you might normally find a dining room table, you'll find 2 cubicles, the closest thing anyone has to an office. Nurse interviews, tests, and eye exams all take place in the kitchen, with a curtain hung for privacy.
We just don't even have a place to land somebody at a desk or somewhere comfortable to come in and volunteer their time.
And Ruth's Place must accommodate more volunteer doctors and nurses to keep growing. Their philosophy of high standards and long-term care, unique among free clinics, means each doctor can only take on so many patients.
Our patients make an appointment. Once they're assigned a physician, they see the same doctor every time they're here. They're following this patient as a full-time patient of their own.
Our contribution that Ruth's Place makes is bringing the health and the well-being of the community to a higher standard.
That is doing well. Okay.
Dr. Romeo Bashan leads the medical staff at Ruth's Place. He continuously pushes them to make that extra investment of time and resources.
John, why don't you go on in?
Coming.
And the returns have been lives saved.
It was about 6 months in that a gentleman that I knew from my experience in the city, he came in just to have his blood pressure checked. He was borderline walking heart attack or stroke.
I never imagined I'd have a heart attack. I'm only 56, so it kind of wakes you up a little bit, you know, kind of wakes you up a little bit. And I really think that if I wouldn't have come by here, that I could have possibly had a real bad heart attack and not be here doing this now.
He walked out of here and he said, "You saved my life today." And I'll tell you, it's like somebody hit me in the head with a bat. And driving home, I thought, wow, this right here, today, this is why I did this.
From heart attacks to diabetes to cancer, this tiny clinic pulls people through their biggest problems. Staff at Ruth's Place are used to giving of themselves, but soon they'll have to learn how to receive. A brand new building, a gift some of them can't even believe, is headed their way. And with it, an opportunity to finally realize a dream.
I don't think it really sat in until we were out in the factory. We have your architects and engineers and Mr. Davenport himself, and you're sitting there saying, yeah, I'm awake, it must be happening. So it really was a manna from heaven, I guess you'd call it.
This is not only going to impact the patients that are seen here in the future, it's not only going to make the phone ring for a while with donations, it's not only going to be a beautiful, strong, sturdy building to look at, but it's going to change people's lives in ways that we don't even know.
Ruth's Place here in Granbury joins a special group of 5 other great organizations that have been awarded a Mueller Helping Hand building. Let's take a look back and see what happened with those folks after the Mueller men handed over the keys.
On behalf of Bob Phillips and myself, Texas Country Reporter, Mueller Inc., and everybody that's had a part in making this happen, we want to present you the keys to the building.
It happens like clockwork every fall. Mueller President Brian Davenport hands opportunity to an overwhelmed director of a Texas nonprofit. He or she has just watched a swarm of Mueller volunteers assemble a new building in less than 4 days. Since standing on that makeshift stage himself in 2008, Chuck Hinton has been to every build.
It's really turned into a wonderful family, and I'm proud to say I'm the first member of this family, and that's why I come back.
Chuck was director of Titus County Cares, the very first nonprofit to be part of this experiment. He has become the patriarch of the Helping Hand family, welcoming a new member every year with advice and encouragement.
We started a family that none of us expected. You never thought that this would turn into what it has, and it's been magnificent. It's growing. The family is growing every year. I love telling the stories of what I've experienced, not only at Titus County Cares, but what I've seen at the other places.
And those stories start at an East Texas food bank. Chuck and the others at TCC had big hearts, but small storage spaces scattered all over town. They turned their building into one central headquarters with a warehouse full of food and volunteers full of kindness. The impact was beyond Chuck's wildest dreams.
It was magical, Bob, what happened from that. Everyone wanted to be a part of it. We went from a small organization with 35 volunteers, a budget of maybe $10,000. We were in 9 locations, if you remember. And that's why this building was so important to us. But now our organization has over 500 volunteers and an annual budget of $300,000. And it's all donated.
In year 2, the Buckholtz Volunteer Fire Department got to move their trucks out of the pasture and into a brand new station. Along with the building came tens of thousands of dollars in life-saving equipment.
It's given them a place to house their fire trucks. And I remember meeting Gary, and he was saying that, we were having equipment stolen off of our fire trucks, and the weather was getting to them, so they've got a nice home for their fire trucks. But what they didn't expect is this become a community center.
For year 3, the Mueller crew traveled to Odessa, where West Texas Gifts of Hope gives cancer patients a place to rest.
When you're traveling 250 miles through West Texas for chemotherapy, you don't feel like driving home that night. So
You don't have any money.
Yeah, and if you can't afford a room, so they provide the place for you to stay.
Now the Odessa Hope House takes the burden of travel off of sick people. This cozy lodge accommodates 4 patients and their families every night, right across from the hospital. Building number 4 went to the Shibe Mental Health Center in San Marcos. This large but ever-growing organization was desperate for secure file storage, drug storage, offices, and meeting space. They built all that and much more, using momentum from Helping Hand to start even more projects.
They've gotten grants. They've received many donations immediately after we left. They are buying a new house. They've raised $250,000 to buy a house not next to them, but across town, to have a child advocacy center. So it's done nothing but uplift them. It's magical.
And just last year, the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center in Corpus Christi broke ground on building number 5. They serve people in more than 20 counties, providing vital lifelines of communication for those who can't hear or speak. Their new home will help make sure no one in South Texas faces that problem alone. 5 sets of keys, 5 buildings that have become so much more than metal and concrete. Add it all up, as Chuck Hinton has done, and it's a Texas-sized foundation of kindness.
I started tallying the numbers, and we're over $7 million.
$7 million?
$7 million of value that has come to those 5 builds prior to this one. That's tangible numbers, that's donations, that's grants, that's services given, and some of those have only been in existence 1 year. So you can imagine 10 years from now, the tens of thousands we serve now will be hundreds of thousands then. And it's not just touching or giving them something they need, a box of food. It's much more than that. We've literally saved lives, spiritually and physically, saved lives.
Up next, let's build a building. We'll be right back.
Wear hard hats at all times, eye protection. Just don't step onto the job site without it, please.
Dawn has yet to break over Granbury, Texas, but the silence and the stillness of a typical morning have already fled. Here in the dark, Art Brown addresses his Mueller construction team, while Becky Malden and volunteers from Ruth's place anxiously await a truckload of steel.
Come on, Will. There you come.
It arrives right on schedule, and by the time the sun's coming up, so is their brand new building.
It's been one big ball of excitement. It's been wow. No better word than wow.
Right along with the structure, the temperature climbs ever higher. This week will go down as one of Granbury's hottest Octobers on record. But the heat can't melt the iron will of the Mueller men, thanks partly to the nurses at Ruth's place and partly to what Helping Hand means to them.
They keep thanking us, and we thank them. The thanks all goes to them.
This has become our company picnic. This is where we all gather up.
It's more than a job. A little piece of each of their hearts are in here. Chuck tried to describe it. They're going to be family.
Good to see you.
As the crew finishes the final details, it becomes clear what they have built: excitement. For more than 3 days, all of Granbury has watched their beloved neighborhood clinic finally get the facility it needs. The volunteers at Ruth's place have taken care of their community one person at a time. Now that same community wants to be here together to welcome them into the Helping Hand family.
Thanks so much for being here with us today to celebrate. Really, it's a miracle what's standing behind me.
From top to bottom, Ruth's place is made of capable, well-educated, successful people. They have all given up better jobs or time off, even retirement, to share a dose of humanity. This building is their payback. It's all they have ever asked in return: the chance to do even more.
You start off thinking you're doing it for the patients, and you are doing it for the patients, but you receive so much more than you give. If you can make a change in one person's life, that's all you need in your day.
It's going to be, literally a dream come true, finally being able to provide medical care that's equal to what you would find in any doctor's office in this community.
It means health where there wouldn't be health. It means a place to go when there's nowhere else to go. It is families and lives, and it is from kiddos on up. And I look at it today and I think, my goodness.
hand over the keys and the hard work for those we leave behind gets started. Thank you.
People now know what Ruth's Place is. So I believe that we are now on the map and that the impact will be just exponentially greater than it ever would have been. On behalf of the board of Ruth's Place and the patients of the past and the patients to come and the recipients of food and whatever may come in the future, just thank you from the very bottom of our hearts.
So now Ruth's Place will join the previous 5 winners, and only time will tell how many more lives will be changed because of this gift. Next week, another all-new episode of TCR, so be sure and travel with us then. I'm Bob Phillips, and this has been Mueller's Helping Hand, a special edition of Texas Country Reporter. We'll see you next time.
Promotional consideration and travel arrangements provided by Valero, the all-American gasoline, all across America. La Quinta Inns and Suites, with more than 800 hotels nationwide. Book your room at lq.com and wake up on the bright side. TCR is brought to you by Capital Farm Credit. We're the answer. Mueller Incorporated. Metal roofs, metal buildings, ironclad guarantees. Hoheim Prairie Insurance. Texans serving Texans since 1892. And top Texas towns, Nacogdoches, Victoria, and Abilene.